Game time, Brian. Is that hey Mark? Mark, is that the guy coming on? Hey, Mark, you can bring DFW and the Dallas Fort Worth area, and it won't matter. You haven't done dick in 30 years. The Pet Rock and the Chia Pet were more famous than Dallas in the last 25 years. Who are you kidding? The Chia Pet is more famous than the Cowboys in the last 30 years. The Chia Pet.
Well, good morning, everybody. Clean shaven game time. I told everybody every couple months I need to get rid of it. I got my baby face back. My wife doesn't like it. It is what it is. I'll have hair in a few days. Relax. It was just itching me. I'm out in the heat all day. But anyway, good morning. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. No mail delivery today. I am Game Time Brian, otherwise known as the Mailman, and we are doing our morning video. As I told everybody, that we were looking at, let me see, hold on a sec. We were looking at UFL guys. Now, I had earmarked 4 guys. I did say Noah, I forget the guy's name. Noah, I don't have it written down anymore. Let me see. Noah Dawkins, linebacker. DeAndre Baker, first-round draft pick from the New York Giants, who had the he had a robbery charge on him, and then he ended up in Kansas City and then at the UFL. Willie Harvey Jr., linebacker, all UFL, and Garyon Conley, a cornerback of the Ohio State Buckeyes, played in the league for a little bit. I will share my screen. I did tell you who they were going to sign, and I nailed it on the head exactly as I said. They signed. Okay, there's been 7 UFL guys signed. Just days after inaugural season came to an end, the UFL has announced the 8 players that have already earned themselves NFL contracts. Make that 8. The Spring League, which formed this year, let me see if I can make it bigger for you guys. It's already 150. We're good. The Spring League, which formed this year as a merger of the USL and the XFL. So just remember, um, we got, well, I'll touch on that in a minute. Over the Spring League was formed earlier this year, USFL and XFL, which was smart, but they needed just one league. Allows players under contract to leave the NFL after the season. If those players stick in the NFL, they'll stay there. If they return to UFL, they will go back to their old UFL teams. That's kind of cool. So they left the Battlehawks. Willie Harvey left the Battlehawks, and he can go back to the Battlehawks if it doesn't work out in Dallas. UFL's announcement identified defensive end Jalen Redmond signed with the Vikings, cornerback Garion Conley with the Cowboys, guard Liam Fornadell signing with the Patriots, wide receiver Dawood Davis signing with the Panthers, kicker Jake Bates signing with the Lions, offensive lineman Cole Laveo signing with the Jets, linebacker Willie Harvey Jr. signing with the Cowboys, and running back Jacob Sailors signs with the Giants. UFL lineman Jared Jones-Smith is reporting set to sign with the Falcons, so that would be not, or maybe that was eight or nine. For players who make the NFL roster, the UFL is a legitimate opportunity to show what they can do. Spring football has talented players. The best among them will be playing in the fall. Just remember, people, 2 years ago, for everybody who wants to joke about UFL, 2 years ago, Dallas brought in Cavante Turpin for pennies, nickels. He made all, I guess it was XFL. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, it was XFL at the time, or the other football league. But I don't know if it was XFL or the other one. But yes, he turned out to make the Pro Bowl as a special teamer. I think this year with the new special team rules, at least for a little while, teams are going to be rolling the dice. And then I think eventually they're just going to settle for kicking it through the end zone and taking the steep penalty, because it seemed like Dallas was averaging, and a lot of teams are going to average a close to midfield on kickoffs. So it'll be interesting to see. I think his role is definitely going to increase with the Cowboys, Cavante Turpin, but he's been a resounding success with the Cowboys, and they signed him to another deal last year. So it's not, he had like a look-see deal, and then they actually signed him for, for him, somewhat decent money. So then last year, like I said, Turpin went on to make the Pro Bowl. Then last year, Brandon Aubrey came out of nowhere and made the Pro Bowl, was lights out as a kicker from distance everywhere. And he struggled in training camp. Not struggled, but I was worried. I was worried about him coming out of training camp. I know Dallas and Frisco there, it's very tough to kick in those conditions down there with the Omni Frisco Hotel sitting there, and you got the Star, and there's a lot of wind whipping down there, so it's not easy. It's a good test. And he did okay, but he was missing some, but as all kickers would do in those situations. But he went on to make the Pro Bowl and was very, very good. So, and what I thought was funny is I said a week and a half ago, I said, I'm telling you, Dallas will sign Willie Harvey Jr., and I think out of the four guys that they were looking at, that I thought that they would bring in Garion Conley with the ties to Ohio State, first-round draft pick with the Raiders. He's a high pedigree guy. I thought that they would go in that direction. Willie Harvey is going to come right in, and 5'11", 230. There were multiple teams in on Harvey. I haven't gotten the name of the teams, but you would have to think, Eagle fans, with your linebacker room and what I'm hearing, how they're going to go. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is not going to be in the mentions anytime soon. He's a project from what I'm gathering. Yeah, coming out of the NovaCare. And not to say he's going to be a bust, but everybody knew he was going to be a project. To expect him to be a day one guy is not, that wouldn't be right. A lot of eggs are in the basket of the Tampa Bay linebacker that they signed for, I think, 1 year, $5 million. We'll see. We'll see. But maybe the Eagles are in on Willie Harvey Jr. They should have been. If nothing else, they should have been. But I don't know. I don't know if he fits Fangio's scheme. Not sure. But I do know there were multiple teams. But, I think the Eagles would have been a good opportunity because you're going to get plenty of opportunity. I mean, Dallas will have some, I guess, longevity. Eric Kendricks is not there for a long time. Hopefully he's there for a good time, though. Overshown Damone Clark, hot and cold on Damone. Damone started out great under Leighton Vander Esch, then kind of settled in. And then when Leighton got hurt and they were relying on him more, it got a little sketch. So, little interesting as far as that's concerned. Some training camp notes. Cowboys dates for 2024 training camp are revealed. Mark Holmes is going out there. So I do know that I will not be going. Now the week has been moved to the first week in August. I think that's the week I have to work. So, I expected to be there July 29th. But it all worked out because I'll be going to the Dallas Eagles November 10th football game in Dallas. So looking forward to that. Got to finish all my, you get all my eggs in my basket. I hope that I can hang out with a few of you guys. I know the Ward family wants me to let them know where I'm staying. There's a few of you. I'm hoping you guys can get out to AT&T and we can hang out, or even if we hang out somewhere else. Training camp is closer than ever for the Dallas Cowboys and the rest of the NFL. While the itinerary for this year's trip to Oxnard, California is still being ironed out, the organization has a handle on what they can expect. They're going to travel to, obviously, the rookies and veterans are to report on Wednesday, which is what we've been talking about, July 24th. Now, the Cowboys are hoping that includes all-pro wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Well, you got to pay him. If you want him there, you have to pay him. Pay him. I have it somewhere. I know I have it somewhere. Pay him.
Pay that man his money.
There it is.
Pay that man his money.
Pay that man his money. All right. They also okay. Okay. The team will not depart Oxnard until August 22nd, so they are going to report on the 24th and be there almost a month. That's a lot longer this year, making this the longest California camp in history of the franchise, one that includes 2 preseason away games. I like that better because if you guys remember, they would always have to get on a plane, come back to Frisco, and then fly back out to California. They finally got it right. Hey, you finally got it right. This is going to mean no air flights to a game other than when you come home for that last a preseason game. Two preseason away games before returning to North Texas for the preseason finale. A matchup the Los Angeles Chargers on August 24th. They also scheduled to scrimmage against the Rams ahead of the 2 squaring off on Sunday, August 11th. And that was the week I was supposed to be there. That's I'm actually off the 11th, but I'm not off the week prior, which you'd have to be off the week prior. Plus, Mark's doing a family thing, so I'm out. With the visit to the Oakland, I just got to get that dig in because you told me for months. Make sure you're off the first pattern practice. Make sure you're off. I am. With the visit to the Las Vegas Raiders traded for so August 17th. So they are going to have to get on a plane to go to the Raiders, but that's L.A. Oxnard to the Raiders is a hop, skip, and a jump. So they do have to get on a plane once. They'll play in Reliant State, Regent Stadium in Vegas, and then they'll come home August 22nd. So we got that bit of news. Again, Dallas Cowboys, we are still sitting here today, the 19th, June 19th. That's right. Happy June 19th. No mail delivery today. I'll tell you again. We're a month away. We need players to, stay in shape. You can go and spend a few days, but make no mistake, they are staying in shape as much as possible. Do not come to training camp and you pull a muscle. This team is so young. There's a lot of spots up for grabs, a lot of key spots. Not a lot of spots, but on the defense, there are a few spots, and on the offensive line. But I think the offensive line is going to be more than fine. Left tackle is going to be the glaring, oh my God, how's Guyton going to do? Don't worry about center, people. We got many options there. Brock Hoffman most likely is going to start, which is going to mean Cooper Beebe is going to be your backup to start. Ultimately, he going to be a starter. So they need to come in healthy and ready to go. That's just what they need to do. I would say, I made a video about Dallas Cowboys are prioritizing Dak Prescott. I'll believe it when I see it. I still think CeeDee Lamb gets done first, but if they're prioritizing Dak Prescott, let's see. It needs to get done. I mean, they always do their deals at training camp. And don't ask me why. They're lazy. I don't know. Deadline make deals. That's BS. But, I'll believe it when I see it if Dak gets signed before training camp. And I'm on record as saying if they start the season without a Dak press conference, without a press conference, like announcing a long-term deal, he's gone. And rumor is Dak wants to leave. Some people are saying from inside that he don't want to be there long-term. He's tired of the BS. Maybe. We shall soon see. The last thing I wanted to talk about was our tight end room, which is going to be very, very interesting going into training camp. It's going to be a top-to-bottom competition, and I want to read off this article from Frisco. From the start to finish last season, the tight end position at least got a question answered. Who's the number one guy? We know Jake Ferguson was that number one guy. Let's take a look at what's up with the tight ends. Okay, what we know. There's going to be some depth at the back of the position. There's just too much size and potential among the players such as Luke Schoonmaker, coming back from a soft tissue injury in OTAs. Peyton Hendershot, who I think is the odd man out right now, but we got guys coming back from an ACL. We'll see. John Stevens was the best-looking tight end, Jake Ferguson included, in training camp last year. A converted wide receiver, 6'6", beast. Brevin Spanford, another mammoth guy. Love him. He's going to be on the team, people. For this not to be an interesting training camp, especially if he stays healthy. We know that tons of competition will allow some of them to rise to the occasion, but even if they don't all make it, there could be some trade value forming here at the position. Again, I called for that last year where they would be heavy in a position and maybe trade to a team rather than release for another player. You're not going to get draft picks, but a lot of times you'll get another player. So we know we know there will be competition. That's what we know. Well, that's what we don't know. We don't really know who is going to step up. Schoonmaker will get every chance to be the number 2 tight end because he was a second-round pick. That's what they're going to try and do. You can't make the club, or you can't help the club if you're always in the tub. If you're injured, you're going to drop. You'll start the year on pup. Now, I do think he will be better than what I think his upside is big. As far as a blocking red zone type guy, but he's got to stay healthy. Cowboys obviously believe he's got the skills to even be a starter one day based off the draft stock. But with Jake Ferguson emerging as a clear-cut starter now, Schoonmaker will get his chance to be the backup and play a lot of 12 personnel. I brought this up weeks ago. I saw Mark Holmes's video where I think he's talking about Boss Cowboy, and Boss Cowboy's ready about 12 personnel. I've been talking about 12 personnel for a month now with the start of our schedule. I even talked to him with Mark. I guess maybe he's trying to be nice because he's going out and hanging out with them. Maybe. I don't know. But, hey, I've been talking about it. Hey, don't forget the little guy. I've been talking about our opening schedule, our first 5 games of the year with a rookie left tackle, 12 personnel would greatly help that young man. And everybody who saw that video, make sure you comment and remember that I've been bringing up 12 personnel. Little old game time. Jake Ferguson emerging as a clear-cut starter. A lot of 12 personnel. One back, two tight end sets. That's what I want to see. One back, 2 tight end sets. But we don't know just how much Hendershot, Stevens, Spanford, and the rest of the pack will push them to get playing time. What to watch for? Ferguson will be the starter and Schoonmaker will be the backup. Possibly. Ferguson definitely the starter. But watch out for number 3. It appears that it will be a 3-man race between 2022 undrafted free agent. I think they need to keep 4 tight ends. They can't keep 3. They need to keep all 4. They can't roll the dice. Brevin Spanford will get picked up. John Stevens will get picked up. The tape of him in preseason last year is out there. You need to keep 4. Hendershot's got to go or have an infamous injury. If they all pan out, if they're all healthy following training camp, that's what needs to happen. That's a big if, especially with with Schoonmaker. Hendershot has experience having played there for 2 seasons, still immature, little raw. Then there's Stevens, who had a nice camp last year before touring his ACL, ended the season before it got started. You could potentially start Stevens out on IR. Potentially, I don't think you'll need to. It'll be a complete year by the time the season starts. He heard it last year in training camp. So about the same time, maybe before Overshone did, or that same week. And now there's Spanford, a rookie from Minnesota from the Cowboys were shocked was still available after the draft. All 3 of them have some height to them, all standing over 6'4", and will be a tall order for them to win this spot given the competition in front of them. So there it is. One of the position groups I'm very, very excited about, but it's funny. I look at Ferguson, then I look at John Stevens and Brevin Ford before I look at second-round pick Luke Schoonmaker. They're not going to look at it that way. But it'll be interesting to see how this all plays out. Again, they report July 24th. I know Mark will be there first week in August. He's going to rub elbows with Philly 500 and Dan Silio, probably Law Nation. He'll be in his element out there with his buddies. So, and he'll be taking in the Ram game. So I hope he has fun. I'll be here doing my thing. And don't forget, tonight we're going to make it a channel member Zoom call. I believe Phil will be on. But either way, we're still going to do a channel member Zoom, 8 p.m. this evening. Live stream. Be there or be square. I may drop another video later this afternoon. I do got some stuff to do today. But either way, that's me, Game Time Brian, otherwise known as a mailman, is out of here. Bye.